Hebrews, Hebrews, Hebrews. This is Prophets of Awakening. This is our reading through the Tanak session on the 17th of July, 2024. Okay, and our topic inside the room will be picking up where I was yesterday, or the Book of Jubilees. We'll read some chapters out of that. Okay, you can go to our YouTube channel, The Prophets of Awakening. Check out our videos. We have over 1,000 or so videos that you can go through, listen to, examine, and get the understanding out of it. These videos will connect dots for you and lead you into the truth of the Holy Scriptures. And if you like what you're hearing and receiving, I'm asking you to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. It would be greatly appreciated. And for those that want to support the channel, we have our Cash App at the bottom of the screen. That too would be greatly appreciated. This is a non-Messianic channel. We deal with the Tanak and the Torah. Tanak being the Old Testament, so-called Book of Remembrance, and the Torah, first 5 books of the Old Testament that was given to Moses by the Lord of Hosts. Shalom and welcome to the channel, and welcome to our reading through the Tanakh. We're going to do our normal, which is a moment of silence, prayer, songs, and we'll do some current events, some need-to-know information. Then we'll open it up for some Q&A, some comments and dialogue. And then from there, we'll go into reading out of the Book of Jubilees. Okay? So with that being said, this moment of silence is for the Lord of Hosts and all that He's doing to bring about our prophesied deliverance in these last days. Okay? O Lord, righteousness and uprightness belongs unto Thee. Therefore we come before Thee at this hour, seeking Thy face, looking for righteousness and uprightness, that we may walk before Thee as Thy servants David, Solomon, Samuel, and Hezekiah did, that we may walk before Thee in truth and in righteousness and in rightness of heart. Give unto us, O Lord, an understanding heart, that we may discern between good and bad. For we desire to walk after Thee, O Lord, and to keep Your commandments, and Your testimony, and Your statutes with all our heart and soul, and to perform the words of this covenant that was written down by Your prophets. O Lord, allow Thy face to shine upon Thy people, and hear our plea, hear and do, O Lord, and hide not Thy face from us any longer, for we need You so very much at this hour. Peace be unto You. Okay, I'll read the song. Okay. Okay, I'll read Psalm 58. It says it's a Psalm of David, right? It's the denunciation of wickedness, wicked, or the wicked. Do you indeed speak righteousness, O congregation? Do you judge uprightly, O ye sons of men? Ye in heart, ye work wickedness. You weigh the violence of your hands in the earth. The wicked are estranged from the womb. They go astray as soon as they are born, speaking lies. Their poison is like the poison of the serpent. They are like the deaf adder that stoppeth her ear, which will not hearken to the voice of a charmer, charming or never so wisely. Break their teeth, O God, in their mouth, and break out the great teeth of the young lion, O Lord. Let them melt away as waters which run continuously when he bindeth his bow. When he bendeth his bow to shoot his arrows, let them be as cut in pieces, as a snail which are melted. Let every one of them pass away, like the untimely birth of a woman, that they may not see the sun before your pots can fill the thorns, he shall take them away as with the whirlwind, both living and in wrath. The righteous shall rejoice when he seeth the vengeance. He shall wash his feet in the blood of the wicked, so that a man shall say, verily there is a reward for the righteous. Verily he is a God that judgeth in the earth. So that was Psalms 58, a denunciation of the wicked. Okay, anybody have any comments on that? Okay, go into our Psalms, into our current events. Okay.
When people work out, everyone thinks you go to the gym, lift weights for an hour, and you're done. To me, it's not like that. To me, it means more than that. That's why I take rest before every work.
What's coming for the United States could be worse than a recession. And in fact, it could actually be worse than anything we've ever seen before. Now, today I want to break down why we are now saying this, what we have been hearing over the past few days, and what we heard about 4 months ago. But yet, nobody really listened. So I want to break down what's happening at this time, what we are now hearing, and here's some big news. Somebody called out a recent historic event that happened just this past week. Well, they called this out 4 months ago. So I want to break down where that's coming from, what is happening, and what they're calling for next. So make sure you stick around and watch this entire video, and I'll explain exactly what is going on. But all I ask is one thing. It takes 2 seconds. Go ahead, hit that like button if you enjoy these daily updates. And now let's begin. So before we get into what some of these potential problems are, why the U.S. could be headed for a worse time than a recession and potentially the worst time in history, just listen to this, okay? And this is something that you need to know. You've probably heard it before. If you haven't, well, this has gone viral, massively viral over the past few days. Listen to this.
Trump rising up, and then I saw an attempt on his life. This bullet flew by his ear, and it came so close to his head that it busted his eardrum. And I saw he fell to his knees during this time frame, and he started worshiping the Lord. He got radically born again during this time frame. I'm talking. People say he's saved now, but he becomes really on fire for Jesus, for what I saw coming. And then I saw people interceding when I saw him winning the presidency through great. The Lord showed me it would go clear into the summer. Great persecution would come on him through the judges and through the law and all these people trying to sue him and all this stuff. But there would be a stop to it, and there things would start to break free, come toward the fall. And then I saw him winning the election through the Patriots coming out and voting. And then there will be a great economy crash. Right. I saw they had a great economy plan, a crash, worse than the Great Depression. And
so right there, this person is coming out and saying that he saw this happen. Well, anybody could say that and say, I saw that happen. Right, no big deal. Look at this. Okay? This right here, this is the video that I just played you. Okay? And you can see it's 3 prophets explain 3 American solar eclipses. This video, okay, was done 4 months ago. This was posted on March 14th, 2024. This video did not have 1.5 million views as of 4 months ago. The first day it was posted, it got about 2,300 views. It didn't eclipse 1 million views until July 14th, okay? When people started to realize this person called them out. This person was correct. This person figured it out, right? They saw something. Now again, I can't explain what this person saw. I can't explain how they figured it out. I can't explain how the Simpsons have been right all along on some major events for the past 20 30 years, right? You can't figure that out. But this person did. Now, then at the end of it, they said there will be a major crash, right? A major crash, bigger than the Great Depression. Again, what we are about to face is going to be bigger than a recession. I'm not saying it because of what this person just said, all right? I'm saying it because that is what experts are predicting, that when our economy crashes, it is going to wipe out millions and millions of people. They won't have savings anymore. They won't have a house that they can go to and weep and cry and have some type of safety net. They won't have it. They'll be ripped from their arms. They won't have vehicles that they can jump in and drive somewhere. They will be taken by banks. Okay? They won't have a retirement that they can go to. That will be gone. Social Security, hopefully it's still there, but again, we don't know. But here's what we're hearing. Just to give you an idea, what is a recession? Okay, a recession is economic decline. Okay, and it happens in, well, it's supposed to be 2 consecutive quarters. However, now it's defined as 2 successive quarters. Now, what I can tell you is we are not going to a recession. Things look like they're doing.
Well, you know you have choices when it comes to home improvement products. Now that's better. Let me tell you why. Better at appliances with our own service.
Doing quite well. We will collapse before a recession happens, at least according to experts. They say experts believe we are headed towards a crash and have been for several years. But why a crash? Well, according to reports, prices continue to rise and more people are unable to afford basic necessities. Now, I was walking through a Walmart here in the Seattle, Washington area, and I was walking through this Walmart, and at the front of the store, this Walmart, and let me know if you've ever seen this before, because I've never seen it. Okay, this is the first time I've ever seen this. This Walmart has a shelf where, and you've probably seen this before at restaurants, where restaurants have a big bulletin board, and up on that board or a cork board, there's little receipts where people have paid for food, but the food has not been. They paid for a meal, and let's say it's a $7 meal, and the restaurant will go and tack up a receipt saying that this person, okay, if you take this receipt to the front counter, they will ring you up. You will not be charged anything, and you will get the meal that is on that receipt. Okay, that's what that happens in many restaurants. Well, what I saw at this Walmart was there were little receipts of items that, okay, you get this item and that item. It was things like toothpaste and toothbrush, right? Shampoo, soap. Some of it was food related as well. You'd say canned beans, top ramen, right? Some medicine, and not prescription medicine either. Just over the counter, ibuprofen, Advil, Tylenol, things like that, right? There are some feminine hygiene products that you could pick up the receipt, and I guess you took it to the front counter, I'd assume, and with the items, and they would pretty much ring them up, and there you go. Here you go. People already purchased them for you. I've never seen that. That's something I thought was interesting, because again, prices for products continue to go up, but yet some people can't afford just basic necessities like soap, deodorant, a toothbrush, toothpaste, right? Shampoo. Can't afford it. Can't afford to cut their toenails, right? The fingernails. Just can't afford it. Lotion, right? Things like that. Just glasses so that you can see. People are purchasing these things and putting the receipts at the front of the store so that other people can come in, take what they need, absolutely need. Again, we're headed towards tough times. We haven't seen them yet, but we will. We also have been hearing more and more reports about consumer debt. Hasn't slowed down. More and more people are placing essentials on credit. Credit card debt is soaring. I've talked to many people about just being able to get out of debt. And most people tell me, I'm never going to be able to get out of debt. I can't afford to get out of debt. I can't do this. It's too expensive. It's too expensive. I can't pay off my credit cards. I just can't do it. But it's when all those people decide, I can't pay off those credit cards. I'm falling behind. So what? I'm just going to skip all my credit cards this month, not going to pay them. Well, once you go down that rabbit hole, most people will never get out. They don't catch themselves up because, again, they're already behind 1 month. You think the next month's going to be easier? In most cases, no. It's even harder. And now it's like, well, I've already ruined my credit by missing one payment. What's another missed payment? Well, they start going down that rabbit hole. And with missed payments on credit cards, then it's missed payments on auto loans. What's happening right now is 30, 60, and 90-day delinquencies are on the rise. We're seeing this not just in certain states like California, where gas prices are still high, car insurance is through the roof. No, we're seeing it in all states. Every single state in the United States is seeing auto delinquencies are on the rise. And when you stop paying your credit cards, you stop paying your auto loans, and then eventually you'll stop paying your mortgage or your rent, you'll get evicted, you'll be homeless, right? And then what happens? Well, the bank's suffering, and the banks are suffering, and they can't lend to the businesses. They can't lend to individuals looking to buy a house and get a car and open a credit card, right? Get that line of credit. They just can't do it because they can't afford it, right? Banks are struggling too. This is where, again, where the bank struggles and the businesses struggle and the individual struggles, then the economy struggles. Guess what? That's where we're going to see the collapse. But according to one report that I was reading just the other day, they're saying that what's happening in China is going to impact us right here. Because as the U.S. consumers stop buying some of these products like, a mouse, right? A computer mouse, keyboard, right? Cell phone, a tablet, computer, television, right? Universal remote, whatever it is. It could be a coffee mug. As we stop buying the goods that are coming in from China, guess what China stopped doing? They stopped making those goods. They stopped making the products. And as China stops making the products, those warehouses, those manufacturing plants, they shut down. Those people, they start to lose their income, their jobs, their homes. Guess what? Their economy crashes as well. And it's not just going to be a U.S. crash. According to experts, it will be a worldwide economic crash, an economic collapse. Again, bigger than a recession. Now, I don't know when this is going to happen. I don't know to what extent. I don't know if we will see some additional signs. But some are saying that you should get out of the stock market, right? Sell all your real estate. Sell any asset that you have. Get out of it. Get away from it. Because it's going to crash. People have been saying this for years. And it could happen. But again, we don't know.
Okay. Any comments on that? Okay.
Shalom, everyone.
Okay.
Yes, that does it sounds like it's near but yet far in the future as he's speaking. But as we see how things are happening today within the United States, how people are really, like in California, snatch and go, running, glove them, going in the store, taking things out and doing things like that. And people are, unbeknownst to some, they're buying more weapons, more bullets, more things, like stocking up on those kind of items, and not really worrying about food. So I don't, it's near and far at the same time.
Right. Yeah, I thought that was kind of weird. We played the video where the guy had prophesied about Trump getting shot in the ear, and then after that he said when Trump got in office, there was going to be a major crash. So that's something to think about because he got the first part right. Okay.
Shalom. Yes, sir. And it's making it happen. Like if they showed where they noticed the guy who was going to shoot him prior to him getting shot at, I'll say. And then, like you said, getting shot, and then, the chaos that's going to happen from that. Again, that's a lot to take in if you're not embracing the Most High.
Exactly. Right. Good point. Okay.
20-page document would usher in the most conservative executive branch in modern American history, if enacted. It's called Project 2025. Its pages offer new administrations a blueprint for executing a right-wing agenda, from purging the government of thousands of civil servants to dismantling the Department of Education.
We do have to initiate the largest mass deportation project in the history of this country.
Former President Donald Trump has distanced himself from Project 2025, but Democrats aren't buying it.
Project 2025 would roll back our fundamental freedoms, undermine our democracy, and gut checks and balances.
Here's a closer look at the four main pillars of this radical plan and how they could transform the American government.
So listen to this right here and listen to what we just heard. Just tie right in with what they got. What they got planned for 2025, collapsing the economy in the world collapse, especially America, it tied right in with this because of what it's going to do. It's going to wipe out the blacks and the middle class. That's what they want. So it all making sense. Okay.
Government as we know it.
One of the things that's interesting about Project 2025 is the tone. You hear the term woke mentioned dozens of times, radical mentioned dozens of times. It's remarkably driven by culture war politics.
Project 2025 is designed as a government in waiting if Trump or any conservative president returns to office. It's the brainchild of the Heritage Foundation, a conservative think tank and lobbying group that has helped staff Republican administrations since the Reagan era.
We cover literally every public policy issue in Project 2025, from domestic policy to foreign policy.
Kevin Roberts is the president of the Heritage Foundation and one of the driving forces behind the project.
All Project 2025 is trying to do is to be a corrective to the liberal nonsense that has been so insidious inside the executive branch for the last half century.
The Heritage Foundation says Project 2025 is backed by more than 100 conservative organizations and a $22 million budget.
So I think the size, scale, and sophistication of Project 2025 is unprecedented.
The project has four main pillars: a policy plan, a personnel database, an online academy, and a playbook for the president's first 180 days in office.
We can be ready to hit the ground running on day one of the next administration.
The first pillar is a policy agenda that focuses on dismantling the so-called administrative state, or what some conservatives call the deep state.
Either the deep state destroys America, or we destroy the deep state.
For Project 2025, dismantling the administrative state means purging the civil workforce of tens of thousands of federal employees and replacing them with conservative, pre-vetted picks.
There is a concentration not just of power, but a concentration of radical leftist ideology in these employees. Hopefully, we will see over the next 10 to 20 years the elimination of entire cabinet departments.
The plan would dismantle the Department of Homeland Security, eliminate the Department of Education entirely, and transform the FBI into a political task force that is accountable to the president.
But the leadership of the FBI has been awful and rotten and not transparent for a long time. It is very important that Congress reestablish its purview over the FBI, generally its jurisdiction.
To give a sense of how radical this is, the FBI is an organization that has never been run by a Democrat. And so this is an organization that in its bones is a fairly conservative organization, and where now you have right-wing voices saying that it should be eliminated.
Growing up in New York,
Plan to bring many federal agencies, like the Department of Justice, under more direct presidential control.
What Project 2025 articulates is
this is a backdoor to King Albert plan. Check it out.
The idea that the president should be the one directing the activities of the Department of Justice, even if that means that the president will not be investigated or that the DOJ will be sent to attack the president's political enemies.
We will root out the communists, Marxists, fascists, and the radical left thugs that live like vermin within the confines of our country.
The Heritage Foundation says it wants to ensure that what remains of this whittled down federal bureaucracy is conservative, not just for the next president, but for a long time to come. Pillar 2, Personnel Database. The Heritage Foundation has already contracted the technology company Oracle to build this database, kind of like a conservative networking platform.
We've recruited Americans all over the country, and so we've had well over 11,000 people who've applied to be considered by the next president and his administration.
Trump really emphasizes loyalty, and you see those practices now being adopted by Project 2025, where you fill out a form that essentially indicates if you are loyal to President Trump or not.
Once they're fully vetted, they can move on to Pillar 3, an online presidential administration academy that would train future bureaucrats in conservative values and governing.
So we want these people who are competent, who have great credentials, to be prepared for the specific job that they will have.
Project 2025 provides detailed policy plans for dozens of government agencies, outlining ways to create de facto abortion bans, slash federal investment in renewable energy, and roll back environmental regulations. Here, you can see several sections dedicated to consolidating U.S. immigration agencies and expanding their power.
Number one, we have to close the border. We do have to initiate the largest mass deportation project in the history of this country. The 12 million people who come in as illegal aliens must be sent back to their native countries.
But how legally sound are these policy proposals, and what would they look like in practice? That's where Pillar 4 comes in, the playbook for the first 180 days of a conservative presidency. A big part of the plan is modeled off of a Trump-era policy called Schedule F.
Schedule F is originally an executive order that Trump signed that would allow him to turn thousands of career civil servants into political appointees that he could then fire if they displeased him in any way, and then have to be more responsive to a president who in the past has shown a willingness to fire people for disloyalty rather than for competence.
The Biden administration reversed this order in 2021, but Trump has vowed to bring it back if he is reelected.
First, I will immediately reissue my 2020 executive order restoring the president's authority to remove rogue bureaucrats, and I will wield that power very aggressively.
I think Schedule F is not just possible, but it's certainly an incredible priority of a second Trump administration. The problem with Schedule F is that there is no real limitation to the number of people who could be converted.
Underpinning many of Project 2025's policy proposals is a legal principle called the unitary executive theory. It is based on a clause in the Constitution that says the executive power is vested in the president.
Project 2025 assumption is that the president has something called unitary executive authority. This gives him enormous untested powers to essentially do whatever he wants and reduces the power of Congress to check those powers.
Conservative Supreme Court justices, like Justice Samuel Alito, have signaled support for the unitary executive theory and skepticism of federal agencies.
The current Supreme Court has shown itself to be very open to claims that the president has enormous executive authority and so should be able to hire and fire people at will.
In July, the Supreme Court granted presidents immunity for any official acts taken while in office. Legal experts say this decision could set the stage for expanding presidential power.
Trump would be looking at a Supreme Court that would be quite sympathetic to his claims that he has extraordinary executive powers, far more than previous presidents, and would allow him to do things that previous Supreme Courts would have checked with other presidents.
Other legal scholars say the unitary executive theory and some of Project 2025's more radical proposals simply aren't realistic.
It will inevitably draw dozens of lawsuits if all of its policies are implemented. So you cannot eliminate an agency without Congress agreeing to that. Congress has.
So I hope everybody listens to that, because this is what these people got planned. So if Trump wins, it ain't looking good. Even if he don't win, but if he wins, it's not looking good. Like I said, that thing is the first 100 days. All hell gonna break loose. Okay, anybody have a comment?
Shalom. Yes, sir. And so by this law being put into action prior to him coming into office, would Biden try to use that because he can right now, or would he just wait until he may get reelected? I mean, they say he can use it if Trump is elected. He's going to use it. So at this time now, being that they placed it out there, would Biden use it? Because he can put a lot of things in effect by him just saying that Trump can do it if he's the president again, but Biden can do it being that he's the president now.
Right.
Shalom.
Like, go ahead.
No, sir. I was just saying, we can get ready for this. This is not good. Project 2025 is nothing good for the people. So, Brother Leonard, like you said, if Trump wins, we're in trouble. If he does not win, we're still in trouble, right? So I don't know if anyone has went to the website and looked at Project 2025 and how it's broken down into those four pillars to get a good understanding, because it's like a 900-page book or whatever. So it's so many people that's just simplifying it for us and breaking it down, right? So even when you go to their site and you look at the advisory board, look at
Right,
all the um people that they have that is supporting them, right? And
right,
Brother Leonard, right there on their website, you can apply now for this presidential administration academy, right? So
that's
that
right,
they can, right, teach you their views and ideology of what they're going to have, going on to bring forth their plans. So like you said, we in trouble either way it goes. We just might as well get ready for it, because it's coming. Trump is saying he has nothing to do with it, but he does.
right, right. And then, like I was saying before, with the look at the vice president that he nobody noticed it. He came out of nowhere, and he's now all of a sudden he's the man. But now you should go back and Google and search him out, and a lot of the things he didn't say it. But this the trick that I'm looking at is that you notice how in the past you got these, when you understand how this everything is structured. You got all these you got the Illuminati, all these different secret society groups that's tied. That's what these people tied up in. And so they would always get a charismatic young dude to run for the president, and then he would get an older guy that's seasoned into these secret societies to be that young guy's pretty much his he pulling strings behind the scenes pulling strings, but the young guy is up in the front. But look at how it is now. They got an older man up in the front, and this young dude is Trump vice president. So remember what he said. What they said that I heard this like 4 or 5 different times predictions that something gonna happen to both Trump and Biden because of their age. So no sooner than the whole time, all the focus been on this dude J.D. Vance. And no sooner than he get in office, boom, something happened. Then this guy, like I said, just look at him. And another thing about that tripped me out that I've been checking out, you don't see no. I don't remember seeing no president in my lifetime or no vice president with no beard. Anybody else?
No, sir. He was clean cut. You notice that, Brother Leonard?
Right.
Yes, sir. Before this, he was a clean cut guy. I kind of noticed that a little bit, and how he was against Trump oh so hard in the beginning, and now all of a sudden the tables
Right.
turn concerning Trump. Um, when it comes to him, and they're trying to say that his sons, really convinced Trump to go with him because they felt that as though he would be a good fit for Trump. But I just think that that's totally all part of the plan. He's young. I think like 30 years old or something like that.
Yeah, I think 38, 39, somewhere in there. But he, like I said, when you look at that, he got a beard, right? So you say, what are you talking about? The Jews, they wear beards, right?
Yes,
Shalom.
sir.
They gotta wear them beards. They gotta have a big beard. It's like even the Israelites. You're not supposed to shave your beard. I don't never remember seeing no president or vice president with no beard like this dude.
Shalom.
When you see it, he look Jewish. Go ahead.
Shalom. Yes, sir. Only one I can remember seeing, or the only one I've seen when I look at the presidents, is Abraham Lincoln. He was the only one who sported a beard and a thick beard and mustache. He was the only one that took it from the sideburns all the way down. That's the only one, but he didn't last long as a president. But yes, he was the only one that I've seen had a beard. I don't know his nationality of what what his religious background was, but yes, he had one.
Right. So if you go to like I'll say the today's with the knowledge that's out and about in the world today, you don't see that no more. Everybody's clean cut, shaving. The older men, all of them, they always shave their beards. But when you just look at that dude, you see Jewish. That's what I see. I see Jewish. Then he got those sparkling blue eyes. It's just something ain't right. And you would assume that, but he wasn't. I mean, he got exposed. But Trump's nephew that married his daughter. That guy there is pure 100% Jewish too, out of Israel. But he never went on beard. But this guy right here, he got that Israeli beard. You know what I'm saying? He looked Jewish to me. Right. I just thought that was kind of weird. Okay. Anybody else got anything on that? Yeah, so you're right. They all Freemasons. It's tied to them. Yeah, Freemasons. It's like a mother group, right? The Masons is the mother group. You got all these other parent groups off of it, but they all tied together. Like I said, the Illuminati. Right. So yeah, that's just to me, just stuck out like a sore thumb to me. And then we know that Trump, well, back when he was in office, he's the one that moved the capital city back to Jerusalem and made Jerusalem the capital again. And took it from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. So yeah, so everything is all about what's going on over there in Israel, what you see him doing. And this guy right here, J.D. Vance, I was watching this morning how that's his number one thing is getting news and getting he was saying about 20 million, how they gonna do it. It's gonna happen, but the plan, they got to orchestrate the plan on how to get 20 million immigrants out of here. So imagine the chaos that's gonna go on with that. So so what you talking about? Well, like I said, King Alpha plan. And then you got the Rex 84 that was amended to King Alpha plan, which is dealing with immigrants, Mexicans, Latinos. So there you looking right there. Everything you see them doing, this Project 25 ain't nothing but Rex 84 and King Alpha plan on steroids. These same people that came up with this was the ones that bum rushed the White House on January 6th. This is the alternative right here. They can concoct. Okay. So with that being said, we go to some need to know information. Thought this right here was pretty interesting.
When you realize bloating and discomfort don't have to be.
Welcome to the Unraveling the Scriptures channel. People are already quite familiar with the topic of ancient giants, especially in the context of biblical stories. A question that often arises is, what happened to the remains of these giants mentioned in the scriptures? Are there concrete archaeological evidences that can prove the existence of these creatures, known as Nephilim, mentioned in the Bible? In the book of Genesis, the Nephilim are described as powerful beings, the heroes of old, men of renown. The idea of giants walking among humans has been a source of fascination and speculation for millennia. But are there tangible proofs of their existence? In this video, we will explore the most intriguing archaeological findings related to the remains of ancient giants. I will present some of the most surprising evidence found to date and discuss the implications of these discoveries for our understanding of ancient history and biblical narratives. Don't forget to like, share your opinions in the comments, and subscribe to the channel. Genesis mentions the Nephilim both before and after Noah's flood. The word Nephilim is variably translated, interpreted as giants in some versions of the Hebrew Bible, while in others it is left untranslated. According to Genesis 7 verse 23, the Nephilim were destroyed during the flood, yet they are mentioned again afterward, including the Anakim, the Amorites, the Rephaim, also known as the Emim. The book of Numbers records the account of the spies sent by Moses to Canaan, who described, "We can't attack those people, they are stronger than we are. All the people we saw there are of great size. We saw the Nephilim there, the descendants of Anak come from the Nephilim. We seemed like grasshoppers in our own eyes, and we looked the same to them." The book of Joshua, which narrates the conquest of Canaan in a later generation, also mentions these peoples inhabiting the region, Joshua 14 verses 12 to 15 and Joshua 15 verses 13 to 14. I will be presenting a series of archaeological discoveries related to giant remains here. This topic arouses great fascination and curiosity due to the mystery surrounding this biblical question. Giants are often described as beings with human appearance, but may also have a more monstrous appearance. They are notably distinguished by their size, ranging from 3 to 5 meters in height, along with their impressive strength and appearance. The word giant was first recorded in 1297 and derives from the Greek gigantes, from Greek mythology. Before I begin discussing the unearthed remains of ancient giants, I want to emphasize that many times, these discoveries, along with other biblical and mystical artifacts, are suppressed by the media and often forgotten. Many of the skeletons and archaeological findings I will mention are just a few among many that have been discovered but are frequently kept secret. Fossil evidence of giants is often hidden from the public eye, and reports or videos about giant skeletons found in Palestine or Africa are rarely heard of. However, there is abundant archaeological evidence regarding the existence of these giant skeletons. Starting with some evidence, I mentioned the giant of Castelnau, estimated to be 11 feet 6 inches tall, which is about 3 meters and 50 centimeters. This skeleton was discovered by anthropologist Georges Vacher de la Puig in the Bronze Age cemetery of Castelnau, France, during the winter of 1890. Upon finding this skeleton, Vacher de la Puig was surprised and immediately recalled biblical accounts, especially the story of the giant Goliath. Upon measuring the bone and discovering that it was approximately 11 feet and 6 inches tall, he made an association with the biblical description of David and Goliath. The bone remains of the giant of Castelnau were analyzed at the University of Montpellier by Sabatier and Delage, professors of zoology and paleontology, among other anatomists. In 1892, Dr. Paul-Louis André Keener, professor of pathological anatomy at the Montpellier School of Medicine, conducted a detailed study of the fragments and concluded that they belonged to a race of extraordinary stature, suggesting, in other words, a link to the ancient Nephilim giants. Now, regarding press reports from 1894, I mentioned the discovery of giant bones in a prehistoric cemetery in Montpellier, France. Among these finds were skulls with circumferences of 28, 31, and 32 inches, along with other bones of gigantic proportions, indicating that they belonged to an ancient race of giants, possibly the Nephilim, with heights estimated at between 9.8 and 13.1 feet. Comparing the skulls suggested that only a person of such height could have such large skulls. These bones were reportedly sent to the Academy of Paris for further study. Upon their discovery, these findings reminded people of the ancient biblical narrative of giants, especially the most famous of them, the giant Goliath. The famous CTCAH giants, also known as Saiduka, are mentioned by Native Americans in North America. The remains, the bones of the CTCAH or Saiduka, belong to a legendary tribe of giants, considered by the indigenous people to be cannibals with red hair and very fair skin. Native accounts describe these giants as having white skin and red hair. In 1911, guano miners discovered the remains of these giants in Lovelock Cave, Nevada.
Yeah, that's one of the things I keep on saying, that we've been brainwashed. That notice what he said. Notice what they said. They're giving you their appearance. Red head, when they say fair skin, that means pale white skin. We see that. We see that every day. We see red-headed people with pale skin. And he's telling you right here what they looked like. We familiar with that. So, and then the same thing was on Mount Seir. That's what we saw intermingle with. He saw intermingle with a race of red-headed giants. So you think that they had fire red hair, they wasn't pale skin too? Yeah, just like these. That was over here in America. Okay? So, but we ain't dealing with that.
In the autumn of 1911, James H. Hart, one of the early miners to explore the cave, reported finding an impressive mummified body of a man measuring 6 feet 6 inches tall, with distinctly red hair, at approximately 4 feet deep in the central north part of the cave. Unfortunately, during the first year of excavations, some human remains and artifacts were lost or destroyed. The best preserved adult mummy was boiled and destroyed by a local fraternal lodge seeking the skeleton for initiation rituals. However, the size and nature of the remains were contested by Adrian Mayer in the book, Fossil Legends of the First Americans. The height measurements of the CTCAH giants are often cited as ranging from 9 to 12 feet tall. There are also internet reports considered fantastical and misleading, lacking solid arguments to debunk the authenticity of the article or discovery. For example, there are reports of a giant human skeleton found in Saudi Arabia by an oil company, supposedly kept secret by the Saudi government. This report on the giant corroborates stories found in both the Torah and the Quran. For those who don't know, the Quran also mentions giants, including Og, the king of Bashan, who was supposedly around 15 feet 5 inches tall. Another example of a discovery widely suppressed at the time is the case of gigantic sarcophagi from ancient Egypt found in Saqqara. These sarcophagi are about 13 feet long and 6.5 feet wide, with the coffin itself weighing approximately 70 tons and the lid adding another 30 tons, all made of stone. Inside these sarcophagi were giant bones, but often these findings were suppressed, some were sold, and mysteriously disappeared. There are also reports of a giant finger found in Egypt, considered irrefutable proof of the existence of ancient Nephilim, a bone or mummified remains belonging to a giant. For those interested in the subject, there are several documentaries on the History Channel that cover the giant sarcophagi of Saqqara. In 1988, during a trip to Egypt, Swiss photographer Gregor Spori took the opportunity to visit the home of a family with historical ties to tomb raiders. Located on a farm 100 kilometers from the capital Cairo, Egypt, Spori paid $300 to explore the treasures accumulated over the years. It was then that he made a surprising discovery, a mummified finger measuring an impressive 38 centimeters in length. According to the Swiss, the giant limb was stored in a long box and wrapped in ancient cloths. He described the box as elongated and smelling of mold. Upon encountering the dark brown relic, he was astonished. The finger had cracks and was covered in dry mold. Spori revealed that his heart was pounding with excitement. It was an incredible experience, he told the German newspaper Bild's website. He also mentioned that the Egyptian family allowed photographs of the strange archaeological relic to be taken, placing a note next to it to show its dimensions. The owners of the curious artifact also showed the photographer an alleged certificate of authenticity and an alleged X-ray of the finger, both dated from the 1960s. According to calculations from the German publication, a 38 centimeters finger would belong to a human approximately 11 feet 10 inches tall, which is biologically impossible. Therefore, the photographer's discovery raises discussions about the so-called Nephilim, mentioned in the Jewish Bible as inhabitants of the Canaan region, modern-day Israel, thousands of years ago, before the flood. Gregor Spory did not have further contact with the Egyptian family that owned the strange mummified finger. In 2009, he returned to Egypt in an attempt to verify the story behind this archaeological discovery, but did not obtain new information. During his research, he only discovered the existence of an unfinished giant sarcophagus at the base of the Giza pyramid, but could not connect this discovery to the finger in question. Without a doubt, the finger belonged to one of the giants of antiquity. I hope you all enjoyed this video.
Okay, any comments on that?
Shalom. As he was speaking, I looked up for China has one that a skeleton that's 193 centimeters, and they said that's the tallest or the largest skeleton, and the person was 16 to 18 years old. So China has admitted that they have a giant skeleton.
Okay.
So I guess it was in their land also.
Yeah, I noticed it when the video was going on. He talked about the Canaanites, right? And he telling you their heights and all that. And so I wanted, like I said, every chance I get, I try to reiterate that. So we go back to Genesis chapter 15, right? And you see that the prophecy, the 400-year prophecy, right? It says, and this is what everybody's saying, Christians and the Hebrew Christians say that in verse Genesis 15, verse 13, says, and he said unto Abraham, the Lord of hosts said unto Abraham, know surely that thy seed shall be a stranger in the land that is not theirs, and they shall serve them. The seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and they shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. They're saying that this is over here in America, right? But you keep reading, and then verse 14 says, and also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge, and afterwards shall they come out with great substance, right? 15, and thou shalt go to thy, talking to Abraham, thou shalt go to thy fathers in peace, and thou shalt be buried in a good old age. Then 16, after Abraham died, right? Verse 16, but in the fourth generation from Abraham, standing there before the Lord of hosts, right? In the fourth generation, they shall come hither again, for the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet full. So the Amorites are Canaanites, right? So the Amorites is giants, tied to these same people we just watched the video with. So, like I said before, if 400 years is ended in 2019, we don't see no Amorites. What the Amorites is? Because they deal with the prophecy, but they don't deal with all of the prophecy in order to rightly divide it. So who was the Amorites? He says in verse 16, but in the fourth generation, they shall come hither again, and for the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet fulfilled. So come hither well. Abraham was in the land of Canaan. And he says that his seed gonna go into captivity in Egypt. They're gonna stay there 400 years, and then they're gonna come out and come back to this land where Abraham's standing. So they went, served the Egyptians, and they came out with great substance. You know the story. And then Moses and Joshua came back and they judged the Amorites. So I want to go somewhere else. Then we move on. But like I said, every chance I get, I want to shine a light on that. Show you how off a lot of these Negroes is. So anyway, we go to Genesis chapter 10, right? And I showed you also how Ham, I showed you Ham and Japheth is not Noah's son. Shem is his son. Ham and Japheth not none of his sons. But he told Noah to get a male and a female from all flesh. You had Cain descendants, which came from the serpent. And then you had Ham descendants, which came from the man and the woman that he created on the sixth day. In Genesis 1:26, he created a man and a woman, right? And then, so anyway, you go to Ham's descendants, which is that puts you in Egypt, where this man was showing you that's where the giants is at. The giants of Caucasus, they was in Egypt, right? Which lets you know that's where the 200 angels in the book of Enoch came down at. That's why that Egyptian society is such a high society, because that's where the angels came down at. That's where all the giants was at. So it says in Genesis chapter 10, verse 6, the Ham descendants. And the sons of Ham, Cush, Mizraim, that's a race of giants right there. The Egyptians are giants. It says Mizraim. When you understand that, that's a race of giants, just like let's look at it. Just like in Deuteronomy. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 2, right? Deuteronomy chapter 2. And you see in verse 9, and the Lord said unto me, distress not the Moabites, talking to Moses, neither contend with them in battle, for I will not give you their land for a possession, because I have given it to Ar, the children of Lot, for a possession. Then 10, the Eman go up there in time past, a people great, many, tall as the Anakim. So let's see that I am on the end of that right there, that's a race of giants. And if you keep reading in that chapter, you'll see this race of about 10 different races of giants in chapter 2 that the Israelites can't encounter. Verse 20, you see Zezimim. Verse 23, you see verse 20, Horum, that's a race of giants. And 23, Avon, Hazarim, you got Capernaum, all these giants, these races of giants. So you go back to where I was at in Genesis chapter 10, verse 6. And the sons of Ham, Cush, Mizraim, that's a race of giants. That's what Egyptians are. That word Mizraim is another name for Egyptian. So right here, it identifies this is where the 200 angels came down there, was in the land of Egypt. So if you keep going to verse 12, and resident between Nineveh and Caleb, the same as a great city. And then 3, Mizraim, see that here, a giant. Begot, Ludim, that's another race of giants. All these giants came from Mizraim. And Anim, go all the way down to 20, from all giants. But my point is this. Go to, let me get it. Verse 16. And the Jebusites and the Amorites. See that? The Amorites and the Canaan and the Jebusites. So these are all giants. So what the prophecy over in Genesis 15, the Lord of hosts told Moses, the time of the Amorites is not yet fulfilled. So 2019, wasn't no Amorites over here. Wasn't no giants over here in 2019. That's off. But it was giants all over the land of Israel when the Israelites came out of Egypt. And then we see Joshua and Moses killed all Amorite. He killed all these different giant kings, Amorites. So that tells you right there that verse is already happened, and what the meaning of what was going on with that. It had nothing to do with no 2016. 16, 19, and 2019. Okay, yeah. Any comments? Okay, so with that being said, I wanted to open up for some Q&A. Anybody have any questions, comments, or dialogue about anything that we talked about in the past, or last week, or last night? Shed a light on something?
Shalom, everyone. Brother Leonard, I have two things. And just the first thing I want to say about Trump, about when I said Trump is a businessman, he's all about money, right?
Right.
You know that he has launched some sneakers again called the assassination sneakers for $299. You
Another
seen that
pair?
today? Another pair,
No,
yes, sir.
you seen that.
It's a limited edition. I think they said something like 5,000 pair or something like that. And I'm like, that Trump, I tell you, he's something else.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
yes, sir. And you know, they was making jokes about the sneakers saying a fist pump and a flag. But
Right.
yeah, he has launched them, I think 5,000 pair for $299.
Ain't that so?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
When
they
I
all,
say
you said they
he is
already sold
greedy,
out?
no, they hadn't sold out yet.
Right.
They have not sold out
Okay.
yet. When I watched it earlier, the information on it had not been out long. So but he is
Right.
already got the sneakers in the works. That's what I'm talking. That is total greed.
Oh, yeah.
That's total greed.
It lets you know that there's something wrong about that, about the assassination, because it ain't even 10 days and you already got sneakers tagged to you being a attempted assassination.
Hmm.
That's crazy. Ain't that something?
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah. So, today, somebody got something? You got your mic out. Shut your mic off. Okay, yeah.
Shalom.
So,
Go
yeah.
ahead. I
Right,
just
you got
wanted,
something?
yes, sir. Just one more thing. That if you could connect some dots before we go into Jubilees. Last night you were reading in go back chapter 38
Right.
about the Armenes, right? And you were saying about some research on Adron. I'm gonna say that Adron, Adoran.
Right.
I did not find any information on him at all. Like when you Google that name or whatever, it did not come up, even if you spelled it as Adrian, you know, the English version, or either spelled it Adoran, the way they spelled it in Jubilees.
Right.
So, just going back with that information, which starts out in Genesis, if you could just connect some dots for that to get a better understanding, was he a Hebrew Israelite?
Yeah, he's a Hebrew. Because if
Okay.
you go look at if you go to I think it's Deuteronomy 24 and 10. You go to Deuteronomy 24 and 10, and you'll see that. Let's look at it. You go to Deuteronomy 24 and 10. If I'm not mistaken, it's no, it's well, let's just go to let me see. Genesis chapter 12, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see. Genesis chapter 12. No, this Exodus chapter 12. yeah, chapter 12 of Genesis chapter 12. And you're going to see that in that word, that the guy name is Adrian the Armenian. So the first part of that word Armene is Aram. That's who they are. They Armenians. They mean they came from Aram. And if you go to Genesis chapter 12, you'll see that the Lord of hosts called Abraham out. And it says right here, chapter 12, verse 1. Now the Lord has said unto Abraham, get thee out from thy kindred and from thy kindred and from thy household unto a land that I will show thee. And I will make thee a great nation, and I will bless thee, and I will bless thy the name, make thy name great, and thou shalt be a blessing. And I will bless them that bless thee, and curse him that curseth thee, and in thee shall all the families of the earth be blessed. So it says in verse 4, so Abraham departed as the Lord had spoken unto him, and Lot went with him, and Abram was 75 years old when he departed from Haran. So to break that part down right there, Abraham is in, when you go look at it on the map, Haran and that region is tied to Mesopotamia. So you say, well, how did Abraham get to Mesopotamia? Well, when you go back to in the book of Joshua and the book of Jubilees, you find out that after the flood, after the boat, the water receded, the land was allotted to Abraham, to Noah, and the people that was with him. He gave Lot, he gave Ham, Africa. He gave Shem, the Middle East, that whole region over there, the Middle East, all that region. Then he gave Japhet, the land over where the Europeans are at today, over there in most of those cold regions. And then Canaan was given an allotment. So Canaan was given Mesopotamia, that region. But on his way to the land of Mesopotamia, he came and he saw the land of Shem. He viewed the land and he saw how good it was, and he stored, he coveted that land. So that displaced Shem. They caused Shem to end up down in Mesopotamia. That's why Abraham is there, down in Mesopotamia, right? It's like I said, if you go to the book of Joshua, you'll see that Terah, which is Abraham's father, was actually the Lord of hosts for Nimrod, because they was displaced. They was down there around Babel and all that region. So you say, well, what you talking about? Well, right here in verse 12. Remember what we just talked about, where the Amorites is at. There's in the land of Canaan. It's called the land of Canaan because Canaan stole the land and claimed it. That's why it's called the land of Canaan. So anyway, you go to chapter 12, right? This before Genesis 15, right? This is another witness that he ain't talking about 16:19. So it says, now the Lord has said unto Abraham, Lord of hosts, he said to Abraham, get thee out of thy country, right? That's out of Mesopotamia, and from thy kindred and from thy father's house unto a land that I will show thee. So what the Lord of hosts doing is correcting a wrong. He's getting ready to take Abraham back to the land of Canaan, which was originally given to him. He's correcting it right here. So he told him, come on with me. I'm going to take you to the land of Canaan, right? So verse 2, I will make thee a great nation, and I will bless thee. Before they went to Egypt, and I will bless thee and make thy name great, and thou shalt be a blessing. And I will bless them that bless thee, and curse him that curseth thee, and in thee shall the families of the earth be blessed. So Abraham departed, right? He departed from the region, Mesopotamia, as the Lord had spoken unto him, and Lot went with him, and Abraham was 75 years old when he departed from Haran. And Abraham took Sarah his wife, and Lot his brother's son, and all their substance that they had gathered, and the souls that they had gotten in Haran, and they went forth to go into the land of Canaan. See that? Taking them back. back to the original land they're supposed to go. That's what he's doing right here, correcting it. He's taking Abraham back to the land that originally Noah had gave Shem. Says, and into the land of Canaan they came, and Abraham passed through the land unto the place of Shechem, unto the plains of Moriah, and the Canaanites was then in the land. So Canaanite Amorites is a group of Canaanite. Amorites are a group of a cutoff of the Canaanites. So it ain't over here, like I said. Then verse 7, and the Lord appeared unto Abraham and said unto thy seed will I give this land. See that he fixing the wrong. And they'll build here an altar to the Lord who appeared unto him. And he removed from thence into the mountains on the east of Bethel, and he pitched his tent, having Bethel on the west and higher on the east. And there he built an altar unto the Lord and called upon the name of the Lord. And Abraham's journey going on still toward the south. So just right here, he's correcting a wrong. And so how you tie this guy Adrian to all this is, if you go back to Genesis chapter 10, and you see that it says in verse 21, these are Shem descendants. They list Japhet, and they list Ham descendants. Now they list Shem descendants. It says under Shem also the father of the children of Eber, which is where you get the word Hebrew, Eber. And that means crossed over. They came over on a boat. They crossed over the flood. It says the brother of Japhet, the elder, even unto him were children born, and the children of Shem, Elam, Asher, Arphaxad, Lud, and they go Aaron right there. That's where you get the word Armenian. So these people are Hebrews. They're not Israelites because Jacob ain't born yet. So they're Hebrews. They the people that was crossed over. They come from the man Noah and Shem that crossed over on the flood. That's who they are. They're Hebrews. So, and like I said in verse 22, you see the word Aram. So when that word Aram is in the word Armenian. That's who Armenians are. They descendants of Abram right here. Okay, does that make any sense?
Yes, sir, it does. And this may be far-fetched. I don't know. I'm just maybe overthinking this whole thing. But I was thinking Abram, right? Before Abraham's name was changed, right? It was Abram.
Right.
Right? I don't know. I just doing some research on that, but just maybe thinking too much. And Abram, I looked that up and it says it means exalted father, right? And then when his name was changed to Abraham, it means father of a multitude, right? So
Right.
as you was reading that about Abraham and all of that, I don't know, I was just thinking about that as you were reading that and knowing that his name was changed from Abram to Abraham.
Right. You got to look at that where I just read. I was in Genesis chapter 10. And
Yes,
Abram came before Abraham was born. And then you get to Abraham, and the reason why how his name was changed was he had Ishmael, he had Isaac, then Jacob came, but then Sarah died. Then Abraham had 6 more sons. That's why he's father of many nations. And he also told him, king's gonna come out of you. All the men had all those nations right there had a king over them. That's after Abram.
After Abram, right? Okay.
Right. Armenians came before Abraham.
Got you. Yes, sir.
Right. So, like I was saying, when you go to the story, it's just need to know information. When you go to Abraham went and helped those when Moses came out of Egypt and he went to that place and helped those daughters feed their sheep, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, those daughters that he helped, their daddy was Jethro. He a Midianite. Well, that's one of the sons. That's one of the sons of Abraham. By
Cook or
Barak.
whatever name.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Midian is one of the sons that he had. Let's look at that right quick. Yeah, we can move on. I don't want you to think I'm just pouring salt on your head. So you go to Genesis. I think it's around 23 or somewhere now. Yeah, see. Okay. Yeah, 25. You got it?
Yes, sir.
25, verse 1. Then Abraham, this is after Sarah died, he married Keturah, that's her name. Abraham's sons by Keturah. Then again, Abraham took a wife, and her name was Keturah. Then here go the sons. And she bore him Zezarim, Jochim, missing these names, Medine, and Midian. See that? That's who Jethro come from. Where these girls that Moses helped. And it is the back and shoe. So another thing about that you have to understand was them 6 boys right there that he had. Remember where Moses went? Moses was kicked out of the land of Egypt because he had killed the Egyptian, and he went to Mount Horeb. And that's where the Lord of hosts is on that mountain. Well, them 6 boys that's where they was gathered at. Their land was all around that mountain. Ain't that something?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, just like people read over it, a lot of it because the information being skewed. But when the Canaanites, the Amorites, all them people there, they all around. Where they live at is all around Mount Hermon. We know what Mount Hermon is, right? We know what Mount Hermon is. Anybody know what the significance of Mount Hermon? That's where the 200 angels came down there.
Shalom, the
It's in the book
porthole,
of
the
Enoch,
portal.
right?
No, not the portal. They came down on
It's in
Mount
the book
Hermon.
of Enoch, right? The
Yeah,
fallen angels. Yeah.
Mount Hermon is a plateau. It's a plateau. It's a large, huge mountain, but it's a plateau, a summit on top of it. And those angels came down on that summit. Them 200 angels, when they came down, they left heaven, came down on that summit. That's where they made the pact at to go from Mount Hermon down to Egypt, where they started sleeping with the daughters of men. That's how you get the giants. So the giants, that's why giants are all around that region. Because that's where the angels came down there. And when you're in the book, when you reading in the book of Jasher, and when Moses was killing those Amorites, he tell you that's the Amorites was stationed right there at Mount Hermon. And it goes over so many people head, but it's right there telling you Mount Hermon. And then you say, well, what are you talking about? Well, what you was just saying, that's Bethel. Where Jacob laid his head down there. It's in that same region. Jacob laid his head down on that rock, and he saw a portal. Well, that's where they came in at. They came in through the portal, then they went to Mount Hermon and made a pact. Okay? Yeah. And then, like I said, because of, people, they caught up with the New Testament with Jesus, they don't see all the significance of all that. And, and then, like I said, if you're not dealing with these other books, you're not going to see all that, how significant all that means, what that's all about. Yeah. So anybody else got anything before we start reading? Okay, yeah, well, I'm in the book of Jasher. I'll read out of the the book of Enoch, Jubilees, and Jasher. I'm in the book of Jubilees though, but I'm in the black book. I figure more people have that book than anybody else than the other book. So I'm in Jubilees. Let's see where I stopped at. I think it was 40. I read 37, 39. Let me see. 40. Somebody want me to see. Yeah. Saying those days that Pharaoh dreamed 2 dreams. Yeah, 40. Somebody want to read that?
Shalom, everyone. Yes, sir. Jubilees chapter 40. And in those days Pharaoh dreamed 2 dreams in one night concerning a famine which was to be in all the land. And he awoke from his sleep and called all the interpreters of dreams that were in Egypt and magicians and told them his 2 dreams, and they were not able to declare them. And then the chief butler remembered Joseph and spake of him to the king, and he brought him forth from the prison, and he told his 2 dreams before him. And he said before Pharaoh that his 2 dreams were one. And he said unto him, 7 years will come in which there will be plenty over all the land of Egypt, and after that 7 years of famine, such a famine as hath not been in all the land. And now let Pharaoh appoint overseers in all the land of Egypt, and let them store up food in every city throughout the days of the years of plenty. And there will be food for the 7 years of famine, and the land will not perish through the famine, for it will be very severe. And the Lord gave Joseph favor and mercy in the eyes of Pharaoh. And Pharaoh said unto his servants, We shall not find such a wise and discreet man as this man, for the Spirit of the Lord is with him. And he appointed him the second in all his kingdom, and gave him authority over all Egypt, and caused him to ride in the second chariot of Pharaoh. 7. And he clothed him with buses garments, and he put a gold chain upon his neck, and a herald proclaimed before him, Ly Abira. And he placed a ring on his hand, and made him ruler over all his house, and magnified him, and said unto him, Only on the throne shall I be greater than thou. And Joseph ruled over all the land of Egypt, and all the princes of Pharaoh, and all his servants, and all who did the king's business loved him, for he walked in uprightness, for he was without pride and arrogance, and he had no respect of persons, and did not accept gifts, but he judged in uprightness all the people of the land. And the land of Egypt was at peace before Pharaoh because of Joseph, for the Lord was with him, and gave him favor and mercy for all his generations before all those who knew him, and those who heard concerning him. And Pharaoh's kingdom was well ordered, and there was no Satan and no evil person therein. And the king called Joseph's name, sorry if I butcher this, Fans, sorry, and gave Joseph wife to the daughter of Potiphar, the daughter of the priest Haley Opalapis, the chief cook. And on the day that Joseph stood before Pharaoh, he was 30 years old when he stood before Pharaoh. And in that year Isaac died. And it came to pass, as Joseph had said in the interpretation of his 2 dreams, according as he had said it. There were 7 years of plenty over all the land of Egypt, and the land of Egypt produced abundantly, one measure producing 1,800 measures. And Joseph gathered food into every city until they were full of corn, until they could no longer count and measure it for its multitude. That was Jubilees chapter 40.
Okay, I just want to shine a light on a few things before we close out. Verse 12. See, notice what it says. In that year, Isaac died. You see that?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right. So, who is Jacob's father? Who is Joseph's father? Who was the father of Joseph? Can anybody answer that?
Jacob.
Who was Joseph's father?
Is Jacob's Joseph's father?
Right. Joseph, one of the 12 children, one of the 12 sons of Jacob. So Jacob is the father of the 12 tribes, right?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So notice what it says right here, 12. And in that year, Isaac died. That's Joseph's grandfather. You see that?
Yes, sir.
Because reason I'm pointing it out, because I looked over it. So we know that after Joseph became king of Pharaoh right here, didn't he go back and get his father and his other 11 brothers that came to Egypt? And he sent them back with the grain, and then he tricked them with the cup and put the cup in everything. And then eventually he brought Jacob and his other brothers to Egypt with him. But when he first became king, Isaac died. You see that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
yes, sir.
Let that from me. Okay, anyway, it says another thing I want to shine a light on was says yeah, another thing too is it becomes normal when once you start understanding that it's not a coincidence that when we came over here, when we got on the boats to come here, we had Hebrew names. I don't know if anybody watched those videos I made on that, but when we got on the boat, on the manifesto we had Israelite names. They got a website called Voyages, and as you can see, where they got a list of all the names of the names of the people that was on the boat. We all had these same type of names right here. We had Hebrew names. We got over here, they changed our name, but that shouldn't be surprising because see right here, they changed Joseph's name. See that? When he was in Egypt.
Yes, sir.
They changed Daniel's name when he was in Babylon. Okay? So it's nothing new. That's part of understanding who we are, how you track who we are. They change our names, right? And then notice another thing. It says this crazy right here. Joseph was 30 years old. You that ring a bell?
Shalom. When he became king, in the New Testament, they tried to put. That's it. In the New Testament, they tried to put JC when he became when he was 30. He came back to walk and do all his things.
Right. That's where they get the 30 years from. Like I said, we look over there. It's just like that 40. Nobody deals with that 40 either. When Moses left, when Moses was kicked out of the land of Egypt, he was 40 years old. When Esau married those giant women, he was 40 years old. The Israelites wandered in the wilderness 40 years. So those are the things, that's how when you understand the Lord of hosts and Yahweh in heaven, that's how he operates. So they took that and they trying to implement it over in the New Testament. Trying to synchronize it. But they're getting all this just like with Abraham. Abraham was the one that the stars came in the sky and went across the sky when Abraham was born. And they took that story, they took the book of Jasher out so you wouldn't know that, and they took that story and put it on JC. Now the star in the sky and the shepherds and all that with JC, but it's actually with Abraham. And then once that light is shined on it, somebody reveal it to you. Now we see what, like he was just saying, he told Abraham, I'm gonna make you the father of many nations. Now that's why the star was up there. Because of Abraham and all that happened to him. Not Jesus. Okay? So, with that being said, I was gonna say something to the brother right here. Peter, you can call me. It's 337-802-0889, and then you're able to get the link where you can come in through the room, and you know you can have a better exchange. I mean, unless you want to just continue to do what you do, but if you want to come in and receive the link, you just call that number. We can get you start sending you the link. Okay, it's 337-802-0889. Okay. So with that being said, anybody have anything else before we go?
Shalom, Brother Leonard, with reading that Jubilees chapter 40, right? When you go in the KJV, let me find it. When the Pharaoh talked about the two dreams, 41, Genesis 41, and in my book it starts at 37 when Joseph is made ruler, right? So that name that I butcher probably fans, right, is different in the KJV. I'm trying to find verse 45. There it is. In the KJV 41 and 45 of Genesis, it is spelled ZAPHNATH-PANEAH, right?
Right.
Because I was trying to look up the name that was in Jubilees, but it didn't come up. And when I up the name in Genesis, it is it means he who deciphered the hidden. So sometimes I know when we're reading the different books, it's spelled differently. When we get to like those apocryphers and what's in the KJV, and I just kind of wanted to point that out because that name was ringing a bell, but it just that it was spelled different in the KJV versus Jubilees, and I was just trying to figure out, okay, I've seen that name somewhere before. So yes, sir.
Right, they put that in it's all in the translation when it was translated, the translators.
Gotcha.
You know, okay. Yeah, so but the thing is to get the meaning of it. And then, you know, just like with Moses, they called him Moses because of what? Because she drawed him out of the water, right?
Yes, sir.
Well, that go right along with the story. Same thing right there with the definition of that word or that name. You know, he has the ability to decipher dreams.
Right.
And that's what they told him. We saw that Potiphar, it said Potiphar saw that he had the spirit of the gods in him. He had the spirit of the Elohims in him. And then it says that the cook, the baker, and the chef saw the same thing. When he was in prison, they saw that he had the spirit of the gods on him. Right? His countenance.
Yes, sir.
So that's why they gave him that name. Right. Okay. Anybody else got anything before we go?
No, sir. Enjoying the class.
Okay, yeah. So we got our women's advanced Bible study tomorrow night at 7 to 9 Central Time. The guys can come in through YouTube and you know participate like that. Okay. So I'll see everybody tomorrow at 7 o'clock. Okay. Shalom, shalom, and another shalom.
Shalom, shalom, everyone.
Shalom, everyone.